What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Monday night reveal special for Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. Eric and myself are here to tell you all about what to expect from Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. Somewhat of an odd selection to be talking about role-playing game, Eric, the two of us.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, and on that note, it's good to kind of set expectations. So we're calling this our like pre-campaign reveal special, because what we're going to do tonight is really show you all of the items that are going to be available in the Kickstarter campaign that goes live on Wednesday. So the figures, the character packs, the gameplay items, the pledge levels, the combo sets, like all of the stuff that you're going to need to know. But what we're not going to be doing tonight is talking about the game itself, like the gameplay. We're not going to be answering questions about how the game works. We're going to do lots of that between the start of the campaign and the end of the campaign in early April. But people like Cameron, our resident game master, Diego, they're definitely more equipped to answer those kind of hard-hitting gameplay questions than we are.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is more of an overview, like a little bit of a primer, just to get everybody ready for the Kickstarter. Just so you've got a little time to strategize and prepare if you're looking to jump in right at the beginning.
And it is worth mentioning that we are using Kickstarter for this campaign. Obviously, Four Horsemen Studios and Mythic Legion specifically have a long history with Kickstarter. Well over 10 years ago now, the first ever Mythic Legions wave was funded via Kickstarter. So lately, we haven't used that crowdfunding platform. We're going back to that platform for this, specifically because of the marketing reach that it gives us. Our goal with Mythic Legions, the role-playing game, is not only to give the existing Legionnaires a great way to adventure in the Realm of Mythos, but also to open up the Realm of Mythos to a lot of new fans, to people that play tabletop role-playing games. Kickstarter is a wonderful platform for tabletop role-playing games to be discovered, and that's why we are going there. We are going where the fans of these types of games are. Now, that being said, don't get intimidated by the whole Kickstarter thing. We're going to be talking today about pledge levels and rewards. I always tell people, if you just think about it like a typical shopping cart, if you're at Store Horseman, you've got to put something in your cart first, right? There's always a first item that you put in your cart, and you can add more. Kickstarter is really no different. That first item that you put in your cart, that's basically your pledge level, and you're kind of giving a reward for that pledge. But after you choose that first item, and we're going to go through what those items potentially could be tonight, then you can do what's called add-ons. Those are just the other items that you want to add to your cart, whether it's figures, whether it's gameplay items, whatever. So don't get intimidated by Kickstarter. One of the nice things I will say about Kickstarter, Eric, though, is unlike Store Horseman, where you put stuff in your cart and you check out and you're charged up front, Kickstarter does not charge you until the end of the campaign. So you could pledge within the first seconds of the campaign. You're not going to be charged until April 4th, when the campaign ends. And we've also enabled what's called pledge over time, which will allow you to actually pay across like 2 months. So you pay like a third on April 4th, another third a month later, and then a final third a month after that. So a lot of cool options with Kickstarter, and it's some of the reasons that we are using it for this particular campaign.
Yeah, Kickstarter's a very different experience now than it was the last time we ran a Kickstarter. They've a lot of improvements, and it's a lot more, a lot more fan friendly at this point.
For sure. For sure.
So yeah, it's exciting to go into this with all these different possibilities for people to come in and pledge and manage their accounts and everything in just a more convenient way than they could in the past.
So let's get right into it here. Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. We first started talking about this, we first started working on it in 2014. We revealed it at Legions Con that year. What we're actually putting out now is a lot different than what we were talking about in 2014. After we got some initial kind of gameplay stuff going, we talked to a lot of well-known and well-respected people in the role-playing game kind of industry. And one of the things we heard loud and clear is that our action figures, the Mythic Legions action figures, are a differentiator for this game. Initially, they were more of ancillary items, but we went back to the drawing board and we really made the figures, an essential part of this game. I mean, they're still optional. Like all role-playing games, the rules are there as suggestions. You can definitely morph it to what works for you. This game can be played in the theater of the mind. It can be played with minis, acrylic standees, or with the action figure. So there's a lot of options here, but it really allowed us to do some very cool stuff for the action figures in this campaign. And some of those things we've already seen. So this is a teaser, Eric, that we've been using. It shows a couple of the figures that we've already revealed. It shows the beginner box and some standees, some of minis. So let's start with those action figures. We've been calling these the base player figures. And, really what we're doing here is this is your starting point. So these are lower cost figures, but still, you look at the paint applications on these, we didn't really hold back on the paint apps. But unlike a lot of our Legions figures that are in our main Mythic Legions line that have multiple heads and lots of weapons and stuff, these are kind of stripped down to their essentials to bring them in at that lower cost. These are going to be $30 items. And, what we're looking at here, Eric, is what we call the base player figure for the human cleric, the elf rogue, and the human wizard. So all of these are going to be items that they're going to be available in lots of combo packs. I've seen some people say, do I have to get the game? Can I only get the figures? We absolutely want you to buy the game, but you do not have to. You can pledge just for these figures. So these are the first three that we've seen so far. And I really like, you talk about, Eric, all the time seeing variety and stuff. I really like, even with just these three here, the variety that we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, for us, like the way I'm looking at this, I almost feel like this is this is a series one. This is almost a starting over, because for many people, this is going to be the first introduction to Mythic Legions. And being in the position that we're in now compared to when we rolled out the first wave one of Mythic Legions, we have so many more parts at our disposal, so we can create this diverse lineup of characters. That it's a fully fleshed out assortment right out of the gate, which I think is exciting. I think for fans of action figures and fans of role playing games, it just it's the complete package that you can buy into from the beginning.
So these are the first three. There's one more base player character to show. Some would say that we saved the best for last. The fourth base player figure is the dwarf fighter. So this joins those three previously revealed as a base player figure. Like the others, this figure is going to be $30 during the Kickstarter campaign. So during the Kickstarter campaign, prices are a little bit lower. After the campaign at retail, they'll be a little bit more expensive. These base player figures will be $35 down the road at retail. But to start in this campaign and really encourage people to back this Kickstarter, we're offering these discounted prices. So once again, here we see brand new head sculpture. A lot of brand new head sculptures that we're seeing on this wave. This is another one. He's got that dwarf hammer. He's got the removable shoulder armor. Really, really cool. And I know you love sculpting those dwarf heads. It seems like this could be the year of the dwarf. We just had the Exiles 2-pack that just landed from the Rising Suns wave. this is going to go really well with those, I feel.
I think so. Again, this is an example. We've got, dwarf armor and parts that we've never had before. So, we were able to create such a cool character here. And just that, that new head brings so much character to this guy. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to sculpt and, see this guy come to life.
So here's the full party. The party is assembled. The adventure is about to begin. Coming to Kickstarter February 25th, 2026. And that is the date, of course. That is this Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time is when we will be kicking this off. So as I said, these 4 figures will be $30 each. So you are going to be able, as I said, your pledge level. You can use one of these as your initial pledge level. So your pledge level would be $30, and you could select one of these as your reward. You obviously can add these during the Kickstarter as add-ons as well. So the first item in your cart, in your pledge, that will be one that you pick. But then it's going to say, would you like to add anything else on? You can add as many of these as you want. We're going to show some character packs in a moment that use these base player figures. So obviously we want to allow people to double up and triple up or whatever to build out kind of their preferred parties. So these will be $30 each during the campaign.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to be able to get figures that look like this out for $30.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. And again, for people who are seeing Mythic Legions, getting into it for the first time, it's a great entry point.
It is.
To really get the full picture of what a Mythic Legions figure is all about, and what the world of Mythos looks like.
Now, I just mentioned character packs. So that's one of the things we're doing here is kind of more of an a la carte style experience for this, because we're imagining these, on game store shelves. And we want fans who are, customers of those stores to be able to pick the parts that work best for them and their particular characters. But we know that the Legionnaires they've responded really, really positively to this a la carte buying experience as well. So you've got those base player figures, and then the character packs are going to allow you to transform that base player figure into a different profession. Profession is what we call, like a lot of other games call them, classes. So things like, in this case, a cleric to a paladin, or a rogue to a ranger. You can also change the species. In this particular case, we're going from that elf rogue to this Jaguarian ranger. So these are the 2 of the character packs that we showed previously. And this is really what it is. So you get that base player figure for $30. These character packs are going to be $15 each during the Kickstarter. They'll be $20 each after the Kickstarter. But you can see they come with couple different weapons. In the case of that Jaguarian, a brand new head. In the case of the Paladin, it comes with a helmet with 2 faceplates, one of which is brand new. You add those to that base player figure to get the new player figure. And this shows that here: base player cleric, character pack, new Paladin figure. So this was a little bit different too, Eric, where instead of developing one figure and just going all out with tons of accessories and extra heads and everything, we kind of created these really as like groupings. Even though these character packs will work with lots of different Legions figures, we created these pairings specifically to go together for the game, to give some initial suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, it works so well from a figure standpoint. I think people who are familiar with what we do, like, the idea of pop and swap and customizability is already so intrinsic to this line. But I think here, what I love about this is it serves this additional purpose of creating this new profession. Like it just shows how well Mythic runs alongside and plays to role playing.
Yep.
You know, the idea of creating your character, you know, statting that character up, you know, all of those essential gameplay elements now you can do with your figure. So I really like that it's a different way of selling our figures, but it's so appropriate for the world of gaming. And I like that, you know, there's that mindset just runs right through this.
Absolutely. So we've got 2 more character packs to show, but to your point, you know, the modularity of the Mythic Legions line, you know, this is what when role-playing enthusiasts see these and they see the pop and swap ability and the fact that they really can customize their characters in almost limitless ways, that's going to bring something really exciting to gameplay coupled with those character packs.
Absolutely.
So we've got the Human Wizard. This was revealed last week on Legions Ladies. And I said on the Legions Ladies show that I think my favorite character, my favorite look for all of these figures is the character pack edition for the Human Wizard here. So I'm going to show that now, Eric. You get the Human Wizard. This is the $30 base figure. The character pack is a Druid. So we've got this like fairy elf style Druid. Once again, this has got a soft goods, a wired soft goods cloak. It's got a brand new head sculpture. It's got that bird that plugs right in, that pet companion that plugs right into her arm. She's got a magic staff and a knife and a sheath. So really, really love the way this one lays out. And then you see this kind of action shot as she's casting that spell. This is my favorite one in the group.
I really like the way this one turned out well. Like I think it maximized what we could do with one of these character packs. I've been wanting to readdress the bird for a long time. So the fact that, you know, we get to see that here is really cool. And you know, it just I like the way that the head came out. It's something we haven't seen in Mythic before. The colors are very unique. Like it's just came together really nicely.
And I love the fact too, you know, we're looking at it on a Druid here, but that cloak, you put that cloak on the Wizard, and I mean, obviously it's meant to go with this build. That's another item that you could, you know, change this character up with as well. Same thing with the dagger, same thing with the staff. All of these pieces are meant to mix and match so you can create the look you want either for your display shelf or to play in the game.
Yeah. I mean, to that, you know, to that point, like even, you know, the elf, you know, I take that soft goods cloak from the Jaguali and put, you know, bring that back and put it on the elf. Like, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of possibility with these, you know, pretty simple packs, what they can bring, you know, to create a brand new character or upgrade your, you know, your existing character.
Absolutely. Now, the next one we've got is for the newly revealed dwarf fighter. So the 4 base player figures were chosen specifically because we call those our core 4. So we're going to talk about the beginner box in a few minutes. The beginner box is a great starting point for people who want to play the game. There are 4 very specific professions that are in that game to start with, and that is the cleric, the rogue, the wizard, and the fighter. So that's why we chose the 4 that we did, but the core rule book expands on all of these rules, and there's a lot of other professions in there as well. We see the paladin, we see the ranger, we see the druid, and another one that in there is the barbarian. So this character pack that pairs with that dwarf, not only does it include a brand newly sculpted head, it includes that battle axe and a whole full set of lower legs. So you can take that smaller scale dwarf, and you can make it a full-size human barbarian figure. And one of the things that's cool about this is we've talked before, Eric, about building systems. So while this helmet is not removable to like reveal a full head underneath that you would display as is, that helmet is a separate piece in production that's got like a key, and it uses the same key as the skeleton that we revealed earlier today that we're going to look at in a moment. That elf that we looked at, the key for the hair on that elf, even the hair on the legendary barbarian figure that we released last year, they all use that same specific system. So it's going to give, not only us a lot of options to mix and match these pieces for future figures, but customizers who really want to go beyond just simple popping and swapping, there's going to give them a lot of options as well.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people were excited about the legendary barbarian figure last year. Mm-hmm. We had that interchangeable hair on there, and then that, we knew where we were going. That was just the beginning of this. So, if you look at this head here, automatically you could either put this bearded head inside a legendary barbarian hair, or put the legendary barbarian head under this helmet. So, that compatibility just instantly opens up doors to create some cool additional character combinations out of this.
Without a doubt. So we saw this already. Our party is assembled, but again, just by using the character packs, we can completely transform our party. We can go from those original core 4, the wizard, the rogue, the cleric, and the fighter, to the druid, the ranger, the paladin, the barbarian, or any combination thereof. Once again, those character packs are $15. Now, one thing to point out is these are not what we call pledge level items. So you can't pledge just for that druid set or just for that ranger set. These will be add-ons. The very nature of the fact that you kind of use a base player figure in the first place, these are things that you will add on after that initial pledge, but they will be $15 each. And once again, you can add as many as you want.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly Kickstarter is a unique way of buying, but once you figure it out, I mean, like you explained, I mean, it really operates like a store. It's just like, it's a little, just a little different.
Now, taking it one step further, we've got the base player figures, we've got the character packs, but we also have what we're calling add-on sets. So we've shown this photo previously. This is that base cleric figure, but it's got a brand new head on it, or another head on it, and then it's also holding that broadsword and scabbard. So we are going to have a handful of add-on parts that will allow your add-on sets, I should say, that will allow you to customize even further. So we've already seen this group here. We've seen our secondary characters. We can customize these even further with these add-on sets. So we've got a heads pack, and we've got 2 different weapons packs. And you see all that we've done here is we've swapped on a weapon from the weapons packs for each one of these player characters, and we've swapped on some heads. And we're seeing another brand new race in here. We're seeing a vampire. That's one of the cool things about our game, is that characters like vampires, skeletons, they're not normally playable in a lot of role-playing games. You can play those characters in Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. So you absolutely can be a vampire, and you don't have to be a member of Alithia's brood. You absolutely could be a vampire that's broken away from the brood and is part of a heroic faction or a neutral faction. That's all possible. So let's dig into this a little bit. This is the head pack that's going to be available. And again, these heads were chosen very specifically to pair with those base player figures. You see the 4 choices here. We also threw in a Night Bucket helmet just to give kind of a different helmet option for the different Night type builds. But we've got a dwarf, we've got that vampire, we've got that that face that's in the chainmail, and then we've got one more female elf to go on that 2.0 body. So I love the fact that even just with the character packs and this heads pack, you've got 3 distinct looks for these base player characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's the the variety is there, and again, for me, it's all about this idea of building your custom player, the exact character that you want to play with, and this assortment and the way that this breakdown is we're giving you the tools to do that. And it's always as amazes me how much you can change a character with just the head. They just, there's such a different presence to each one of those builds with the head swapped out. So it's exciting to just see the transformation on these.
For sure.
And then you throw in weapons and things of that nature, and then you really can start mixing it up.
So 2 different weapons packs. We're calling it the heroic weapons pack. We didn't get ultra creative on these particular names here. Remember, these are all meant to be like, none of these characters, we're not giving them any names because these are all meant to be characters that are archetypes. They're characters that will allow players to build their own characters on. So we've got the heroic weapons pack here. We've got the evil weapons pack on the side. All of these add-on sets are going to be $15 each. So the head pack is $15. The evil weapons pack is $15. The heroic weapons pack is $15. Once again, these will be $20 in like at retail down the road. There is a discount of 25% if you back it during the Kickstarter and get this early. So a lot of options right there with the figures, Eric.
I mean, it really is. Again, I can't stress how much I'm excited about this, as you called it, a la carte style of offering these pieces up. I'm excited because I think it's cool, but I'm also excited to see how everybody reacts to it and what they do with the ability to, just either jump in as a beginner, customizing, popping and swapping their figures, or taking these offerings and running with it, and what people are going to create.
The enemies. So we've talked a lot about your player characters, but now no quest is going to be, if you didn't have any enemies to fight, if you didn't have any antagonists that were trying to stop you in your quest, it wouldn't be exciting. So we've got the base player figures, we've got our character packs, we've got our add-ons. Let's look at our enemy figures. We've got 2 enemy figures available. Earlier today, we showed off the skeleton fighter. We also have an orc barbarian. So a couple very classic type of characters in the Mythic Legion story. The skeletons and the orcs, they've been a part of the line since the very beginning. It just felt natural to bring both of them back. So let's look at these 2 characters. And I should point out that while we're calling them enemy figures, skeletons and orcs are fully playable in Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. So these are base player figures. Like, you can absolutely play these as a base player figure. We should also point out that you don't have to play as a member of the Legions of Light. You can play as a member of the Legions of Dark. You can play as a member of one of the Splinter factions. All of that is available in Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. So brand new skeleton here. We showed this earlier today. Very similar loadout to the base player figures. He's got, second set of hands, removable shoulder armor, removable belts. He's got that 1 axe. Similar for the orc. He's got that removable belt, 2 sets of hands, removable shoulder armor, and he's got that axe there. So really cool additions here. I mean, in this particular one, I know people have been clamoring for a green-skinned orc in the Legions fan base. So this is one that I think people are going to enjoy adding, especially with some of these updated armor pieces. This has, some of the evil lower armor and, lower legs that we introduced last year on one of our main characters in the lore, Urzok.
Yeah, I mean, to me, looking at these, it just strikes me, with the lighter loadout and just the builds on these, they're really a lot. They kind of throw back to Mythic Legions Wave 1 a little bit.
Very much.
Yeah. They're like they're the 2026 versions of of the Wave 1 figures.
Absolutely. So enemy figures are also going to be $30. These are priced exactly like the base player figures. We really wanted to standardize these. We wanted to make this easy, not only for our fans to understand what the prices are, but hopefully for any new retailers, any game shops that are looking to carry this, because that's ultimately our goal, is to get this into game shops. So Mythic Legions, the role-playing game, becomes something that brand new tabletop game enthusiasts are discovering. So $30 each for the Orc Barbarian and the Skeleton Fighter. One more thing that we're going to talk about from a figure standpoint is figure stands. So we've had figure stands for years in Mythic Legions. They're some of the best, sturdiest figure stands I've ever seen, but they take up a fair amount of room. And one of the things we realized early on with the game was we needed stands that were smaller profile, so people could actually use them on the game maps. One of the things that you can do in Mythic Legions, the role-playing game, is what we call a mythic encounter. So if you're playing the game on, typically role-playing games are played on grid maps that have 1-inch little grids, and each little 1-inch square represents like 5 feet of distance on that map, that dungeon, or whatever that map is representing. One of the things that we revealed at Legions Con this year during gameplay was this thing called a mythic encounter. So think of it like a boss level battle, right? When you come into that dungeon and you get into that final room and there's that boss level character there, you can actually swap your 1-inch grid map for a 4-inch grid map and use Mythic Legions figures in that encounter. And what's cool is, unlike minis that are pre-posed, these are fully posable figures. So if you're a cleric and you're casting a spell, or you're, that barbarian or that dwarf, and you've got your hammer and you're going to land a blow, you can pose your characters that way. And to help you do that, these stands, they measure about 3¼ inches across. These will allow you to be on those grids. So we've got 2 different kind of textured designs, one that we call Cracked Earth and one that we call Dungeon Floor. They're painted in 2 different colors. And one of the pieces of feedback we got from Legions Con was people wanted clear stands so they could see the map below them of what was going on. So the figure stand, it's going to be a set of 6 stands, 2 different Cracked Earth, 2 Dungeon Floor, and 2 Clear. It's going to be $10 during the Kickstarter to get these sets of stands.
Yeah, I love this. We've been talking about doing a lightweight stand with just a foot peg forever. So this was the perfect spot to do that. But I also like this too, because I like this idea of basically just upsizing the mini. And by putting it on a base like this, it really looks like just a sized up version of that miniature. So it works on a lot of levels. I don't know. And again, one of the things that I've been excited about with this game development is that this works. If you're a gamer this is a great ad for a gamer.
Mhm.
If you're not a gamer, this is a great ad just for the toys. And it's all of these things that we're putting up in this this Kickstarter. They serve both, you know, both sides of the equation so well. And I mean, we'll get into this, you know, a little bit later, but even if you're not a gamer, the gaming elements, I think, have a lot of excitement to offer for people who are just fans of Mythic and the lore and everything else.
Agreed. Yeah. And that's a great segue, because we're going to start talking about those gaming elements. And I should point out that, you know, while we're moving kind of past the toys, and my goodness, there's a lot, really break it down. There's a lot of figure options, a lot of character packs and add-on sets that are available. But we had to start somewhere. And similar to that first wave of Mythic Legions, you know, we're starting this product line with, you know, some of those archetypal characters. Mythic Legions as a whole, we have a wide variety of other races that, while they're not represented, at least right now, in the players, you know, the figures for the role-playing game, this is just the start. We have a lot of plans for this game, and we really hope that the success of this Kickstarter gives us the ability to add all of those kinds of races that we find in Mythos into the game in a playable fashion. So just, if you didn't see the race that you really, really were hoping for, like goblins perhaps, don't get too depressed. This is just where we're starting. We know you want your races. We know you want your goblins and so forth. We will get there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, you know, just looking at what we showed there, this offers an opportunity to look at all of these character types and races through a new lens. You know, that elf is, to me, very specifically an RPG inspired elf. Yeah. Like, it fits. Yep. So a goblin, for example, you know, what is a Mythic Legions, the role-playing game goblin, going to look like? You know, I've seen lots of good, you know, creatures and characters listed here. So I think that's exciting to introduce those types of things for the first time again through this. So lots to look forward to.
So in terms of the gameplay elements, this is something we teased a few weeks ago. This is the beginner box, wonderful artwork from Max Dunbar gracing this box. This is the image that we showed, but if we dig into it, we see what's actually in that box, and it's super, super cool. This is a great way, if you've never played a role-playing game, if you you love Mythic Legions and you're like, I've always wanted to play an RPG, but I've never taken that leap. This could be the what gets me to do so. This is a great place to start, because everything you need to start playing is right in this box. You get an adventure. So you can see at the top there, it says In the Shadows of Mercurios. That is a starter adventure for Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. The goal is that it's going to take your, level 1 characters. It's probably a couple gameplay sessions to play through this starter adventure to get everyone understanding how to play. There's also a beginner rule book that's about 100 pages. The adventure's about 64 pages long. The beginner rule book's about 100 pages. So it takes the core rule book that's a lot more in depth. It boils it down. It doesn't cover, every single level. It doesn't cover every species, every profession. It's just a starting point to get you off and going. You mentioned people that are interested in lore. If you love Mythic Legions lore, there's a lot of stuff in that, because one of the cool things with this is this was all developed in-house. When we decided to do this, we tapped, our resident game master, Cameron Smith, to really get us started on this path and start creating the game. But along the way, all of us, Eric, you and myself, who, we collaborate almost daily on the stories and lore of Mythos, we made sure that everything that was written for these books made sense with the larger story we're telling, with the larger picture. So this isn't like an alternate mythos. This is very much the mythos that has been building towards since wave one of these figures.
Yeah, I mean, not only does it run in line with the lore of mythos that we've created, but it enhances it. And
Sure.
that's exactly what I was alluding to there a minute ago, is that I think if you're, even for folks who aren't gamers, to look through this core rule book and be able to look at character stats, look at what their abilities are, just all of these deeper, very specific questions that are being answered that we've never even addressed. I think people aren't even gonna. I think they're gonna be surprised at what they're getting information wise here, because there were a lot of questions that we answered with this that I had never even considered before, because they seem mundane, but once you put them out there and into the world of mythos, it just creates the reality of that world. And those mundane, like day-to-day type of little factoids, like that's what just makes it's all the richer for it. So I think people are going to eat it up.
Yeah. So again, if you've never played, this is a great place to start. But if you are a seasoned gamer, this is great for you too, because it's everything for you to get playing this particular game. Now, this game is written on something called the open game license. So for those who are not gamers, basically what this is the most popular role-playing game in the world. They allow their system to be used by other creators. So rather than creating from scratch a brand new game, we elected to make this compatible with the 5th edition of the world's most popular role-playing game. By starting with that, we know that seasoned gamers are going to know how to play right out of the gate. And that system has already been well tested to make sure that it's easy to learn. And then what we were able to do was say, okay, now that we've got those base core rules, how do we make it more mythic? How do we do things like make the faction system incredibly important? So, the factions in Mythos they've been such a part of the line since the beginning. There's a mechanic in the game where, based on the faction that you are a part of, the actions that you do that benefit your faction or perhaps hurt your faction's greatest enemies, it will open up new abilities for your character. And someone who's a member of the army of Leodicius has different unlockable like levels and abilities than someone from Zylona's flock or Alithia's brood or anything like that. So a lot of really cool aspects there for just the game, the faction system itself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's, again, we've got this kind of entryway into the game that's going to make it familiar. It's going to make it to where people can learn it easily. But as you said, the fact that we were able to come in and put that mythic spin on everything, I think it's just, people are going to have so much fun, playing out these characters within the world and, within the confines of the faction system. Yeah, I just think people are going to have so much fun with this. Uh-oh. So it looks like we've got had a little stall out there. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. So unfortunately, with Jeremy dropping out there, we've lost the pitch deck. So as we often do when something like this occurs, start throwing some questions at me. Favorite color, orange and blue combined. but yeah, let's throw some questions out, and we can get into some specific answers to some of these. What you might be reacting to that we've shown so far. Let's see. It very well could be the power there. Jeremy sent an image today of what snow looked like there, and it is it was like waist high on him, so crazy. Let's see. Will there be more waves of figures down the line? Absolutely. If this is a success, for sure. I mean, we've got this planned out, well into the future, in anticipation of this doing well. We've got to be ahead of the curve for this, and again, this is something that we're looking at as such an entry point for so many people. So it's very much, this is like a new wave one here. So, we certainly want to see 2, 3, 4, and so on. Let's see here. Which dwarf is your favorite, and why is the answer all of them? That actually probably would be my answer, because I'm terrible at choosing a favorite character. Let's see here. This is an interesting. How will this affect future waves of mainline Mythic and Cosmic Legions? Honestly, that's yet to be seen. We always enjoy the fact that as a company, we're very nimble and flexible. So for us to be able to react to your reactions, although we have plans moving forward, that might change RPG waves or mainline waves. We're anticipating that. I think this a la carte style of selling is going to go over well. So that might be something that we start seeing in more of the waves. With the graveyard zombies, we sold the additional soft good packs to kind of test the waters a little bit with that, and it seemed to go over very well. So this will be our next kind of step into that realm. So we'll see how it goes. Let's see. What kind of miniatures will be available for the game? Hopefully, Jeremy will get back on here in a little bit, and we will we'll take a detailed look at that. Pictures will certainly tell the story better than I do, but in short, the idea is that we're offering miniatures that can, once we hit a mythic encounter, be upsized into your full-size figures. And so, of course, there'll be, I'm sure, instances where we do minis that we don't have the full-size figures for, or vice versa. But here we're trying to mirror as much as we can. Let's see. Will I be spending lots of money? I guess it depends on what your definition of lots is. There's some questions here about different classes, or as we're calling them, professions in the game. That's the sort of thing that we'll get more into as we get into the game itself. There's plenty of classes in here in the initial launch of the game. So I think, as we go further into the campaign, and we get Cameron and some of the other guys on, we'll get really into the the deep specifics of that kind of gaming element. Let's see. Thoughts on enemy character packs, possibly a stretch goal. Not something that we have planned currently, but certainly something that could happen in the future. Again, we think the character packs are going to be popular. So, you know, why not? Why would you not want to build up your enemy or playable characters? Look at that. Here we go. Visuals.
Oh my goodness. So my apologies, but we had an epic snowstorm here in Rhode Island today, and I didn't lose power until midway through our live stream. So I still don't have Wi-Fi, but I've tethered this to my phone. So this may go spectacularly badly.
Well, I'm letting you take back over again.
Okay.
We've got pictures now, so that helps.
So we were looking at the beginner box. We were talking through the elements here. Adventure, beginner rule book. It's got a set of 6 acrylic standees. It's got 2 double-sided adventure maps. It's got a set of dice. And what you don't see here is it actually includes 2 1/1 scale props that are usable as part of the included adventure. So we're gonna leave those as a surprise here. The beginner box, you can see, I mentioned the standees. You can see here the difference between the standees, the miniatures, and the fully posable figures. The miniatures and the standees are also available separately. So if you do want to buy those on their own, you can do that as well. An example of one of the page layouts from the beginner rule book. You can see that here. The beginner box is going to be $45. So this is during the campaign, it's $45. Again, it's a great way to get started with Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. Now, that brings us to the Deluxe Paladin Cleric. This is a figure that I know a lot of people have been asking about. We revealed this or released this at San Diego Comic-Con last year to really kick this off. Now, this figure was made very specifically to promote Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. So we are making this available in a limited fashion during this particular Kickstarter. We made enough for San Diego, but we made some extras specifically to include them as part of this campaign. So this is one of the pledge levels. We at the end of the day, you can buy the figures without buying the game, but this particular figure, you're going to have to get a copy of the game because that's the whole point of this Kickstarter, is to get this game into people's hands. So we're going to have a limited number, just 750 available, this beginner box with bonus. For $99, you will get all that cool stuff from the beginner box, plus the Deluxe Heroic Paladin Cleric. Now, because this is a pledge level item, this is not something that you can add on. This is only available as a pledge level. You're only going to be able to get one of these. Now, we are going to have a way that you can get the that Paladin Cleric as an add-on as well with another kind of package of stuff. So there is a scenario where you can get more than one Paladin Cleric, but I think this is going to be a great way for a lot of people when they're figuring out, okay, what is going to be my pledge level? How am I going to get started? What's the first item in my cart? This very likely could be that first item for you, because for $99, you not only get the Paladin Cleric, you get all that beginner box stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's a loaded set right there for sure. And you know, like you said, you know, the idea of this figure was to promote the the game. That is ultimately the point of this this entire project is to get
Yep.
the game out there and get it funded. And so, that's getting, basically you've got a full starter set here so that you can get going on the game. And then, you've got a figure that you can either put in your collection or play with the game,
Yep.
To get you up and running for, a nice price there.
Absolutely. Core rulebook. This is, again, the beginner box has got, a great way to get started. To take you even further or to delve deeper into the lore of Mythos, the core rulebook is about a 300-page hardcover volume that goes a lot deeper. Species like vampire, orc, jagualian, skeleton that are not covered in that beginner rulebook as player characters, they're all covered here. That core rulebook will be $40 during the campaign. So this could be a pledge level item, or you can add this stuff on. Dorklear, there is not a PDF of the core rulebook initially, but digital options and virtual tabletop gaming, those are all things that are on the roadmap as we look forward. We're starting with the physical pieces, and then we're looking to digital as kind of the next wave of gameplay stuff. Standees. So we saw that set of standees. It's actually Heroic Set A. Those are the standees that come in the beginner box, along with 2 of the standees from Villainous Set A. If you want to buy them separately, they are all available separately. Each set of standees is $8. So if you do the math, they're pretty much $2 a standee. These measure 31 millimeters tall, about an inch or 25.4 millimeters wide. So these can be used in the game, on those maps to represent your characters. And you can see that we've broken it down where the base player characters are set A, kind of that second version of the characters. The character packs are set B, and then we've got Villainous Set A. So you've got some characters to fight there. Those will be $8 a piece, all available as add-on items.
And I think for people who aren't familiar with the acrylic standees, I wasn't really familiar with that ahead of time. Like I had seen the cardboard, like punch out ones that are with so many games. These acrylic standees are really nice. Like I just, you can kind of get an image of it here. But yeah, I just, for something that I wasn't really familiar with, they're really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Minis are another way that you can play. So if you don't want to use the acrylic standees, we have 2 different options for minis. Obviously, minis have a long history in tabletop gaming. This shot here is just showing a couple of the minis. Each set of minis will include 4. We've got both fully painted and unpainted. So the fully painted sets are $20 a set. We're just showing a couple of them here, but this really matches those standees. The same characters in Heroic Set A, B, and in Villainous Set A are going to be across both the standees and the minis. $20 for the minis. If they're painted, only $5. So you get 4 unpainted minis for $5 in this Kickstarter campaign. We asked people, Eric, we asked the Legionnaires, would you prefer painted or unpainted? It was like 50-50 in terms of which ones they wanted. So I'm sure you can appreciate we made the decision, do it both.
It's my signature move.
It is. We went there.
I mean, and as always, make everybody happy.
Make it that. I mean, options are good. Now, Kickstarter exclusives. We do have one item that is a Kickstarter exclusive. It is this Kickstarter exclusive set of dice. So these are like an acrylic set of dice that it's got a liquid core that's filled with orange mica powder. So apparently when you roll these, it almost looks like a floating flame-like effect. These are very nice premium dice. They're what's called sharp edge design versus the round edge design. So these are supposed to have more randomized rolling. You get this set of 7 dice. It comes in that super nice premium foam-filled case that's got the Mythic Legions RPG logo on the cover. These are only going to be available during the Kickstarter. We will not be selling this particular style with this color and so forth. Beyond that, these are going to be $25 per set.
I mean, those are cool.
They are.
It's just, yeah, hand candy.
GM screen. So you see this in a lot of, if you've ever watched anyone, gameplay sessions on like YouTube, they have this thing called like a GM screen. And, one side, the side that's facing the game master, it's got information about the game and pockets for literature and stuff and stats and all that, things that help them run the game. While on the other side, it's a super cool piece of art. So this is an in progress piece of art. This was created with an artist named Sean Andrew Murray, who super cool artist. He's got kind of his own property called Gateway. We've enjoyed working with him. You've been a fan of his art for many, many years. We commissioned him to do some work and become fast friends with Sean. He put together this super cool GM screen that I think people are going to get this literally just to like frame and hang on a wall because it's such a cool piece of art.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it was cool. He actually showed us the size of the drawing itself. He said it was the largest drawing that he's ever done. And we were on a Zoom call. He was holding it up, and it's just, I mean, I don't know. It was like 4 feet wide almost. It's cool. A lot of detail. And just a cool peek into Mythos in a different way than we've seen it before.
And the final piece will be fully colored. We actually saw some colors today. It's looking very, very cool.
Yeah, this is a great piece.
So I think we've got one more item to show, and then we're going to talk about the combo sets because we've got some cool combo packs that lower the price by buying a bunch. We teased a couple of these coins previously, but these are the coins of the realm. So these are going to be actual metal coins. One of the things we had to do, one of the questions we had to answer for the game was, what is the currency of Mythos? And we created a number of different kinds of coins in game. And we thought it would also be cool to have actual coins in your hand that you could play with, you could, use for your own enjoyment. So this is going to be for $25. You're going to get 85 metal coins inside of a leather drawstring bag that's got the Four Horsemen RPG logo on it. You get 5 of the Platinum Stag, 20 Golden Lions, 20 Silver Eagles, 20 of the Gray Vein Coppers, and then 20 of the Gob Hollow Slugs. So you're going to get an absolutely super cool little leather bag of all the coinage of the realm. This is one of the things that I just think is such a fun little add-on item.
I love this. I mean, and this goes exactly to what I was speaking about earlier. Like these, the questions come up. What is the currency in Mythos? What does it look like? Like, what do the different factions use? And this not only answers the question, but we're putting the answer, in your hands. Like, the idea of having a bag of these coins is just, I don't know. It's just so cool. It just brings the world to life. It makes it, more real. So yeah, this is really cool. I could see taking this and like mounting it and like framing this. Like it just,
And at first, I thought it was just going to be one of each coin. And Len and George, I will tell you, originally, it was a much larger package of coins. Like, we had to pull it back because we were like, guys, they wanted you to be able to, like, go onto that game table and open up that bag of coins and then just spill out onto the table. So 85 coins was us compromising down. But This is going to be fun because it's going to be a nice, cool, big bunch of coinage.
And just to note, there is a Gob Hollow slug there. So, don't think goblins aren't on our mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's look at some combo packs to end the presentation today. These combo packs, for the most part, except for the last one, are either available as an initial pledge tier, which means this is what you can start with, or you can add this on later. While you can add any of these figures individually, it's a little bit cheaper if you do it here with this combo pack. And you're going to see as the combo packs get bigger, so do the savings. We call this our core 6 figures. If you just want the 6 figures, it's going to cost you $179 for that combo pack. But we've also got a very cool incentive one. Combo figures plus the beginner box is $199. So do the math. For $20, if this is the combo that works for you, you're getting all 6 of those figures plus that beginner box for under $200. That's, again, either a pledge level item, so the first item that you start with, your reward, or this can be an add-on to any other pledge. We've also got what we call the full party. So, Eric, this would kind of be our traditional all-in. When we do our Store Horseman pre-orders and we have an all-in where you get one of everything, this would kind of be that all-in. Technically, you're getting more than one of everything because with the full party, you're getting 2 of each base player figure. You're getting 2 wizards, 2 rogues, 2 clerics, and 2 dwarf fighters, so you can use the character packs to make the secondary characters. You're also getting both of the enemy figures, the heads pack, and both of the accessory items. This, I believe, you're also going to get. Does this include the stands? No, this does not include the stands. So this just includes what you see here, $399 for this set. So that's a little bit of a savings. Of course, if you want to add that beginner box, once again, $20, you get what we just saw for the full party plus the beginner box. I love as we start to see all this layout, like that's a lot of stuff to get in a case for $419.
No doubt about it. I mean, the images just keep getting smaller and smaller on the layouts here. But yeah, it's again, I like these because it gives you the ability to not only play the game, but play the game with the mythic encounter element.
Yeah.
You can customize your characters with this. There's a lot going on in this collection.
Absolutely. Getting even bigger, this is truly the all-in. So the full adventure for $620, you're literally getting everything. The only thing this doesn't include, it doesn't include the Paladin Cleric, which we'll talk about in a minute. This doesn't include the unpainted minis because it does include the painted minis. So with the full adventure for $620, you're going to once again get 2 of each base player figure. You're going to get the 2 enemy figures, the heads pack, the 2 weapons packs. You're going to get the Kickstarter exclusive dice. This shows 3 sets of standees. One of the sets actually comes in the base player, but you're going to get the other 2 sets of standees, so you'll have them all. It's not shown here, but you're going to get all 3 sets of painted minis. You're going to get the bag of 85 coins. You're going to get the beginner box. You're going to get the core rulebook. You're also going to get the GM screen and the set of 6-figure stands. So it's literally everything that we've got in this campaign that's an add-on style item that you get for $620. And yes, someone's asking, can you pay in installments? Remember, as I said at the start, you don't get charged until the end of the campaign, which is April 4th. And if you use the pledge over time feature, which is not only available in the US, it is available in a lot of other countries as well. You can pay across a 2-month span. You pay that first installment on April 4th, and then it's 1 month apart for the other 2 installments. But the last thing to show here is back to that heroic paladin cleric. We wanted to not only make this a pledge level item, we did want there to be an add-on that included this figure. So for somebody that genuinely is like, I want everything available and I want that paladin cleric, it is $699. So this is, if you added all of these prices up, this is, I think it's like a $50, $60 savings over if you bought it individually. And that's obviously, of course, at the Kickstarter prices. It's significantly more savings than what it's going to be at retail down the road. So you could, if you get in, you could use that beginner box with the Paladin Cleric as your pledge level item, as your first item, and you could add this on as an add-on item if you wanted an additional Paladin Cleric. These are also limited to just 750 pieces. Now, it's not 750 total. There's 750 that are the beginner box with the Paladin Cleric as a pledge. There are 750 of this combo set full adventure with bonus that's completely separate. So it's 1,500 in all. This is limited to 2 per person. So you cannot add more than 2 of these to your cart. Someone's asking for estimated delivery time. Our goal with these is to have these shipping before the end of 2026. And I think that's a really good point. One of the things that was important to us with this Kickstarter, Eric, with this game, was not to do this campaign until the game was pretty ready to go. Like this game, this is not funding the development of the game. This is just getting us to produce the game and get the orders that we need for this game so we understand how many to make. We've already invested in the development of this game. We've already invested in the tooling for these figures. All of that's in China. We are really looking to kind of fast track this and get this shipping by the end of 2026.
Yeah. I mean, as you said, we've been working on this a long time, and coming into this, we know, we're getting into a brand new category here. We're selling into a Kickstarter audience here, which is different than our regular pre-order. So, we had to ensure that we were ready to do a quick turnaround on this. When you think about the hundreds of pages in those books, the art is all done, the writing's done, the minis are sculpted. Obviously, the figures are sculpted. They've been in China for quite a while now. So, it's all very well attended to. And, I would love to see people have this in their hands, for the holidays.
Me too. To answer a couple questions, these will all be shipped together. They're not going to ship separately. This is all being produced. Obviously we've got our factories to make our figures. We're partnered with an amazing company to do all the gameplay materials, a company with a ton of experience doing that, so that this will all be done at the same time. And yes, you can just pledge for the figures if that's what you choose.
And you can also just pledge for the game.
You absolutely can. We actually do have a pledge level. I mean, this is kind of a reveal type special, but there is a pledge level called the Gamers Combo. That is just the game elements. If someone just wants the game materials, the dice, GM screen, core rulebook, and beginner box, but doesn't want all of the other type of items.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, our hope is that people get into both, because I do think that mythic encounter, kind of boss level battle is such a unique element in this game. When it was such a eureka moment, when that was really dialed in with the game. And I know a lot of times when people play their games, they keep their figure on the table, and build their character and things like that. And so it is just such a unique and cool way to play. And it it works well. You know, we've done enough testing and seen enough gameplay with it that it's a lot of fun. You know, if you're looking for, you know, familiar rules, but something new between, you know, the faction system, the mythic encounters, like all the little, you know, new elements that are added in. I think there's ultimately, you know, I mean, this is about a game, and the games are meant to be fun, to sit down and enjoy with your friends, and that's exactly, you know, what we've got set up here and ready to go.
So the campaign begins this Wednesday, which is the 25th at 11 a.m. Eastern. It's going to run until Saturday, April 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern. We do have some stretch goals. Our funding goal for the campaign, we set a very low funding goal, a very realistic funding goal on this, because again, we've already invested in all of the development. So the funding goal for Mythic Legions, the role-playing game, is $90,000. We are not going to reveal what the stretch goals are tonight. When the campaign goes live, we're going to at least have one thing for you to be able to kind of, you know, scroll down and get to see. But we do have some very cool stretch goals. Some of them are material upgrades. Some of them are new unlockable items. And yes, some of them are new figures. We've got a couple figures that we have not revealed that are available if we get to those stretch goals. So backing the Kickstarter early does a couple things. Not only does it unlock those stretch goals quicker, but again, we're using Kickstarter because we want this to spread far and wide. And, you know, the quicker that we get to this funding level, the quicker that we get well above the funding level, Kickstarter takes notice. And when Kickstarter takes notice, they start promoting it. They put it on the front page. They put it in their emails. So if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I definitely want to back, there's no reason not to back at the earliest stage because you're not charged up front. But charging at the earliest stage does definitely help the game and the campaign. So that Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time, that helping get us up and above that $90,000 threshold and up to those stretch goals, that is going to be super, super helpful. What you can do now is the campaign page already actually exists. A lot of you are probably already following us. You can see the URL right here on Kickstarter. That particular, if you go there now and you use the notify me on launch feature, what that does is the minute we go live, Kickstarter will also send you an email saying, hey, the Kickstarter campaign that you were interested in is now live. The more people that are following, Kickstarter also takes notice on that. So after this reveal special, there are two things you're going to want to do. Number one, you're going to want to go to that that Kickstarter page and follow us there. Number two, you're going to want to check out Legion's Lounge because they are doing an after show in the lounge to talk all about this fun stuff. So that's your kind of your marching orders for after this today's adventure.
Nice. Sounds fun.
Any last minute thoughts, Eric, before we let everyone go for the night?
I mean, I'm just ready for this thing to kick off. You know, it's always kind of the feeling we get when we do one of these launch specials. You know, we've been holding things close to the vest for a while, but I mean, this one's been going on for a long time. This has been a lot of hard work put in by a lot of the team on this. A lot of people that, you know, we brought in that, you know, artists and creators that aren't even, you know, part of the normal team or been involved with this. So, you know, for all that effort, for all that love that's been put into this, you know, it's exciting to unleash this on the world and, you know, hope that people get as much out of this as, you know, we've put into it.
Awesome. Thank you all very much for tuning in this evening. We are so excited to reveal all the goodies from Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. For all the questions about, you know, the play aspects and the gameplay components, We've got a lot more live streams coming up between now and the end of this campaign on April 4th. We're going to tap, some of our gameplay experts at the studio to answer those questions for you. Eric, I cannot wait for Wednesday at 11 to see the Legionnaire community absolutely go crazy adding these and spreading the word. That's one of the things we are so fortunate that we not only have an incredibly cool and positive, fan base of supporters, but they are supporters. They not only back the stuff we do and buy the products that we put out, they spread the word. They know that this community is better the more like-minded people we bring to it. So I'm excited, very excited to see the Realm of Mythos get introduced to brand new fantasy fans and tabletop game players, and action figure fans who may not have taken the leap to check out Mythic Legions yet. In this game and these awesome figures may be what gets them to do it.
Absolutely. And yeah, spread the word. That's the key with a Kickstarter. That's what we, especially when we're trying to open this up to people in that gaming world. Any opportunity, you got to spread the word to gamers that may not know what this is, or maybe seeing it for the first time. That's the best thing that you could do right now.
Absolutely. With that, everyone, you have a very good night. We will see you at Kickstarter this Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Good night, everyone.
Take care.